Once upon a time there was a man with a vision. He wanted to create a magical world for all ages to bring happiness and joy. He wished upon a star and his dreams came true. Little did he know that his company became so famous that not only his own story spread throughout the world, but also stories about him and his company. It's a tale as old as time, but these modern times make them spread like wildfire. But are these people just Pinocchios with growing noses? Or is there something there that wasn't there before? Hi everyone and welcome back to a new video. Sorry for the weird lighting, but it's really dark outside. It's not even the evening, but it's just raining and cloudy. So I really had to bring my ring light into the picture. And I'm not really a fan of using it with these types of videos. If I make music videos, it's different. But for now, it's the only thing I can do. This video is a sort of bonus video because I'm working on other videos as well, and I really wanted to give you something in between. And since I'm a huge Disney fan, which you might know if you follow my other channel, I really wanted to do something with Disney. I really love all the old animated movies. I'm not really a fan of what they're doing right now. But I really love Sleeping Beauty, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, and also, of course, some other videos. As you can see, I have a lot of plush toys from Disney. I recently bought that Stitch behind me. I really love it. It's really huge and very soft. So yeah, and this is what I bought over the years. And I'm also wearing a Mickey sweater. And I also really love to go to Disneyland Paris. I also want to go to other parks, but it's very far away from my home. And Disneyland Paris is only a 6-hour drive, so I've been there a couple of times and I can't wait to go back. Disney really left a mark on my childhood, and I think I'm not the only one. I think most of you who are watching this also feel the same way about it. Disney films are nostalgic and they give you a really warm feeling. They have beautiful animation, soundtracks, and they really tackle subjects that are relevant for adults and also for children. But is it always Hakuna Matata behind the scenes? Did Walt Disney himself have some dark secrets? Are the Disney parks really all so magical, just like Jasmine said? Or are there some poor unfortunate souls who are scared of their friends on the other side? Hop on my carpet and travel along to the far off land of conspiracies. And we're gonna take a closer look what's under the surface. The first conspiracies that we are going to tackle are about Walt Disney himself. His name is forever connected to all the films that we love. He was an American motion picture and television producer, and he was also a showman. He was the pioneer of cartoon films, and he also brought Mickey Mouse to life and voiced him in the beginning. He also created the Disney amusement parks. He co-founded Walt Disney Productions with his brother Roy. Walt Disney won 22 Academy Awards during his lifetime. His first full-length animated film was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which was a very innovative film and paved the way for all the other Disney classics that we love. He married Lillian Bounds, who worked for him as an ink and paint artist. They had 2 children together who were named Diane Disney Miller and their adopted daughter Sharon Disney Lund. In 1966, Walt Disney was diagnosed with lung cancer. And he died on December the 15th of the same year. During that time he was working on the Jungle Book, and unfortunately he was never able to see the finished product. So the first theory I want to discuss is a very bizarre theory. Some people claim that Walt Disney wasn't cremated when he died in 1966. But they claim that his head or his entire body was cryogenically frozen after his passing, so that he could return when technology was advanced enough. This story was spread via the tabloid newspaper The National Spotlight in 1967, and it was also publicized in the French magazine Ici Paris. It would later also appear in the National Tatler. But where did this story come from? It's possible that the first speculation started when people heard that Walt Disney's funeral would be private. Although it was stated that he was cremated and his ashes interred at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California, some people still didn't think this was enough evidence, especially since he was a very important man with a lot of influence. And of course, he was a very public figure, so why would he settle for a cremation? Although there were people who were cryogenically frozen in the 1960s, there is no evidence that Walt Disney did the same. So this conspiracy theory is most likely false. The next theory is really below the belt and really harmful if this is not true. This theory suggests that Walt Disney was a Nazi sympathiser. This was suggested in a book called Walt Disney, Hollywood's Dark Prince, written by Mark Elliott. There were claims that Walt Disney met with Benito Mussolini, who was an Italian dictator. This, however, is most likely a false claim because there's no evidence. He did, however, allow German filmmaker Leni Riefenstahl a tour through the Disney studios in 1938. She was making a documentary about the Olympic Games, but this was not the only documentary that she made. She was also known for making documentaries glorifying Hitler's reign. Not much is known about her visit to the Disney studios, but Walt never screened her video of the Olympic Games or showed support for it. It's really painful that this theory exists because I can remember when I was little, I think about 10 years old, I did a presentation about Walt Disney, and I remember that he was very much against the war. He was known for making propaganda shorts against the Nazi regime, and he even made top secret training films for the US military in the Second World War. This was a very dangerous task, so it was not without risk. So I think whoever came up with this theory is a very disturbed person. When you see the Walt Disney logo, it looks like handwriting. It's a very recognizable and cultural touchstone, and it is even called Waltograph, which would indicate that Walt himself designed the font. However, the logo that we know now first appeared in 1984, which is long after Walt Disney himself died, although it was designed with his autograph in mind. The next theory could be true because it's not very eccentric. In this theory, it is claimed that Walt left a series of short films with secret instructions for Disney executives concerning the future of his company. Walt was known for being very interested in the future, so it's not strange if he really did this. And the instructions were, according to the sources, about how he saw the future for Disney and about some films that he never wanted to see the light of day. And of course he already knew that this future wouldn't be a future he would be a part of because he already knew that he was going to die. So it's not strange that he left instructions, because many people leave instructions when they know that they are gonna die, sometimes about their funeral or how they would see their money, you know, a will, or they show you a will. So why wouldn't Walt leave instructions for his company? However, his brother, who I mentioned before, Roy, was already doing a lot of business for Disney, so he already knew very well how Walt envisioned everything. So I still think that this theory is also probably false. We are going to move away from Walt Disney himself and we're going to talk about his parks. There are many spooky, creepy and strange theories surrounding the parks. When you enter any Disney park, there's always a big castle as the center of the whole park. However, this castle is never the same. For example, my castle is Sleeping Beauty's castle in Disneyland Paris, and in Walt Disney World, Florida, you can see Cinderella's castle, which was completed in July 1971. And this theory is about that castle. Some people claim that Cinderella's castle can be dismantled and moved. And this sounds very unusual, but Florida suffers from very extreme weather conditions on a regular basis. Tropical storms, extreme heat and a lot of rainfall, these are all weather conditions that are happening in Florida once in a while. This could explain why the castle can be moved in case of emergency. However, as I mentioned before, the castle is more than 50 years old. They didn't have the technology that we have now. And even if they did, I still wonder if we really can move buildings that easily. So this sounds really unlikely. The next theory is a scary but very popular theory. I saw it everywhere. And this theory claims that nobody can die at Disneyland or Disney World or any park. This myth claims that Disney staff always removes deceased bodies from the park's property before the authorities are informed. And they do this all to avoid negative publicity. Of course, there are people who die in the Disney parks, unfortunately. You can't really do anything about that. Sometimes it's medical or maybe some accident happens. But the actual pronouncement of death happens in the hospital. And of course, the hospital is off property. There are 3 documented cases of death on Disney property. One happened in the Caribbean beach resort where a utility worker flipped in his car, which pinned him to the floor. Deceased people can be announced dead at the scene, but that doesn't mean that they're officially dead. So this could explain why nobody really died in the Disney parks. Although I couldn't really find out if this theory is true or not. And this theory, I really love this theory. A pirate's life is a life full of danger. Therefore, it's no wonder when you enter the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, there's a ghost who makes life really difficult for everyone who sets foot in this attraction. And the story goes like this. When the Pirates of the Caribbean ride was constructed in Walt Disney World, a constructor named George fell off or was crushed by a large piece of set, which killed him instantly. The myth says that the tall window tower in the scene with the burning city is the piece of set that killed George. It is even said to be called George's Tower. Some people even claim that his initials are carved into the base. Removing it or painting it over is useless because it always magically reappears. Some people claim that shortly after the park opened, an older woman who looked really sad would visit the attraction often and ride it alone. It turned out that this old woman was George's mother. She was heartbroken and she was looking for any sign of George, especially on the scene where he took his last breath. Now the ghost of George haunts the Pirates of the Caribbean ride and makes life difficult for all the guests and also the cast members. He is not malicious but mischievous, so no reason to get scared. The most famous part of the myth says that cast members should always wish George a good morning or a good night, or they have to say farewell before they leave the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. If they forget to do this before they start working or before they leave, George will do something to make the ride malfunction or break down. There are also reports from guests riding the Pirates of the Caribbean ride and feeling a hand on their shoulder, or they feel a touch somewhere while there's no one there. And some cast members claim that they've seen movement on the cameras or a ghostly figure, and they've received phone calls without somebody else on the other side of the line. So if you are scared of ghosts, a pirate's life is not the life you should lead. Of course, there had to be a theory about the haunted mansion. And I'm sure that you can guess what it's about. People claim that the haunted mansion is really haunted. There are people who claim that Disney himself causes supernatural malfunctions because his ghost is in the ride. And even if you believe in ghosts, this theory is strange because Disney never saw the construction of this attraction. So why would he be there? Another theory about the haunted mansion is that the tombstones in front of the haunted mansion are actually from real people who are also buried there. They are half right because the tombstones are from real people, but these people are alive or were alive, and these are the names of the people who worked on the construction of the haunted mansion. The haunted mansion is there to make you uneasy and of course scared. So it's no wonder that people believe that supernatural things can happen there. However, there's never been real life evidence to suggest that the haunted mansion is truly haunted. The next theory surrounds Club 33. If you've never heard about that club, you're not alone, because I didn't know what Club 33 was. So what is Club 33? It's a number of private dining clubs located within various Disney parks. It's a VIP club for pavilion sponsors and was created in 1964 at the New York's World's Fair. So there are several locations, but the original location of Club 33 is located above the Pirates of the Caribbean ride in Disneyland, California, which is next to Walt Disney's former apartment. And the name of this club comes from its address, which is 33 Royal Street in New Orleans Square. Not many people know what happens behind closed doors, so this of course paves the way for a lot of conspiracy theories. Some people claim that Disney used Club 33 for meeting with the Illuminati to establish a new world order. And this sounds really creepy, but it's very unlikely because Walt died before this club was opened. So now you know a lot of the conspiracies surrounding Walt Disney himself and his parks. We're not done yet because I have one bonus conspiracy for you. And I think you already know this one, because it's the most famous one of all. If you watch the old Disney films frequently, and especially the animated films, you must have seen some hidden messages. One of the most famous scenes was the wedding of Prince Eric with Vanessa in The Little Mermaid. Let's say that the bishop's niece were mistaken for something else. Or maybe you've seen the dust cloud in The Lion King, which spelled the word S-E-X. And these are things that they adjusted in the recent releases of the films. And something you see a lot in the Disney animated films is the lack of moms. Most of the time the mothers are dead or they are absent. In recent years they've changed this, but I remember when I was little that almost every princess that I loved didn't have a mom. The only one I can remember that did have a mom was Princess Aurora, but I know Ariel didn't have one, Belle didn't have one, a lot of them didn't have a mother. Also the animals didn't have one. And people think it's because of an experience that Walt Disney himself had with his mother. When he finished Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, he made a lot of money, so he bought his mother her own house. There was a fault in the furnace of the house, and the Walt Disney Company tried to repair it, but they failed. Eventually it leaked, and this caused Walt Disney's mother to die of a lack of oxygen, which is really sad. And it is said that Walt felt very guilty about this. And this could be a reason why the mothers in his films are also dead. I'm not sure if this theory is true because I have a lot of European fairy tale books because I am European. And I remember that there were hardly any mothers in the stories, only evil stepmothers. So I think it's just the original story that he used for his films. Some people go as far as looking for scary theories about the actual plot of the movie. For example, Peter Pan kidnaps children and takes them to a place where all the adults want to kill the children. Or the theory that the beast killed all the servants and turned them into furniture and Belle has Stockholm Syndrome. There's also a theory that the King and Queen of Arendelle are Tarzan's parents. So this makes Tarzan the sibling of Anna and Elsa. And there's also one about Alice in Wonderland, which really makes sense to me, is that Alice was using drugs and she had a fever dream, or she was suffering from a psychosis. It is all in her head and she's really turning mad. Another theory is that the prince in Snow White is actually dead and takes her with him to heaven at the end of the movie. Because in the end the castle looks like it's in the clouds. Of course there are many other fan theories about Disney films. There are many YouTube videos where people delve into them. I'm not gonna do that in this one, but I really suggest that you look them up if you're interested in them. We are almost there. The magic carpet ride has reached its end. I really enjoyed diving into all the conspiracy theories. Do I think any of them are true? Not really. The only one that sounded most likely to be true is the one about Walt's dead mother. But then again, what I said before, European stories already have a dead mother in them. Mothers are, if you have a good mother, very caring and supportive beings. And when you take them away, the hero really needs to do everything alone without a support system. That sweet loving influence is gone, which makes the journey harder for them, which makes it more fun for us to watch. So, what do you think about all these theories? Do you think one of them is true? Or do you think people are just insane by coming up with them? But I have to give it to them that they really have a lot of fantasy. So maybe they can make their own Disney movie. I think they really need it these days, a good story to tell for a great film and no remakes or, woke stuff. So thank you so much for watching my video. And if you liked it, what can I say except you're welcome. I really enjoyed it. I really hope you did enjoy it as well. I'm gonna make one video at least this year. I'm not sure if I can make 2 videos. It really takes a lot of time and research. But I promise you that before the next year starts, I will make a new video. I already want to thank you all for watching my videos. I've never had so many people watching my videos, so I'm really happy about that. It really gives me new energy to make videos for you. And let me know in the comments if you know a nice subject that I can cover. I do all kind of stuff. You can watch my older videos if you'd like to see more of my videos. And then you can also see the other subjects that I cover. I really hope to see you in my next video. Some people are worth melting for, and you are that person for me because you watch my videos. Hasta la vista!